Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So the last video we talked about ions, their definition, how can you identify if an element is a metal or a non-metal, how does an element obtain that charge of positive, looked at the cations and the ions. So in today's video, as I told you, we shall look how to determine the charge of an element. So it is also the same thing, just you will going to simplify a little more. So this is what I'm talking about. So to determine the number of ions slash charges on a particular element, you will need to know its so you will need to know its valence. That is one. So you need to know its valence. That is one. One valence. Then two, you will need to know its group in the periodic table. So but for me the easiest way it is from the valence, because when you know the valence of that element, you at the same time, or particularly, you also know its charge or its ion. For instance, if we look at sodium, so sodium has a valence of 1. So I made a video on how to determine the valence of an element, so I will put a link in the description so you can watch that video. So sodium has a valence of 1. That's the truth. Now, how do you know now you have identified its valence. Now, how do you know that sodium is a metal or a non-metal? Because I told you in the last video of ions explained that all metals have a positive charge. So with this valence of 1, so it means that sodium has ions also of a positive 1. But what you should know that in chemistry, this one is not considered a lot. So what they do, they remove that 1 and they just only power the positive. So sodium has a valence of 1. With a valence of 1 has also a positive charge. Why a positive charge? Because sodium is a metal. Now another example, let us look at aluminium. Aluminium also, I told you, is a metal because it is found in group 3. You can go and watch how to determine the metals and the non-metals under the periodic table in my last video. So aluminium, you need to also understand its valence. So aluminium has a valence of 3. Now what about its ions? I told you, if you know the valence, at the same time you know also its charge. So it has a valence of 3. Now its charge will be 3 to power the positive charge. Power the positive charge. Remember, the number comes first before the charge. The number comes first before the charge. So this is not correct. So if you write it like this, positive 3, it is not correct. No, it is not correct. Under ions, the number comes first before the charge. Now you can, now another element, let us look at nitrogen. Let us look at nitrogen. So nitrogen, that is its symbol. That's its symbol. So nitrogen has a valence of 3. Nitrogen has a valence of 3. Now if you know the valence of nitrogen, at the same time you know the ions it has. So its ions, they are 3. It is 3 negative. Remember, I told you that nitrogen is one of the non-metals. If you go back to our periodic table, as I told you in the last video, nitrogen is a non-metal. As this you see in this purple color, all of them are non-metals. All of them are non-metals. All of these are non-metals. So I think, let me do it again correctly and you will see what I mean. So all of these are non-metals. All of these are non-metals. So that's what I want you to understand. So nitrogen is also the, now let me show you again the metals here. Now from here, from hydrogen up to boron, all of these are metals. All of these are metals. Now on 14, these are in group 4, but you are seeing 14, but they are in group 4. So carbon undergoing silicon, germanium, lead, all of them are metalloids. I told you that those have positive or negative properties. So from nitrogen on going to helium, all of these going down the group, all of these are non-metals. So I made a video on how to determine the valence, so I will also put in the description so that you can understand how do we determine the valence of an element. So another example, let us see chlorine. So chlorine has a valence of 1. Has a valence of 1. If you know the valence, you know its ions. So ions present in chlorine, it is, remember 1 first. 1 first. So the number, it is the first one. So the number is the first one before the charge. So it's but remember, as I told you, that 1 is not considered in chemistry. So what they also do, they just put a negative charge. They just put a negative charge, and that is all. That is all. So here are some few questions. So So determine the number of charges slash ions of these elements of these elements. So one I have calcium, I have calcium. Two I have potassium. Three I have fluorine, and four I have oxygen. So I will be waiting for your answers in the comment section. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe to my channel, and the next time we shall look at bonding, because having looked at the ions, now you need to know the bonding, because in bonding you will exactly see those charges in action. Thank you very much for listening. Hope to see you in the next time. Bye.